Carrick, Petty Mountain, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, to you wherever you are. It's a wonderful Thursday morning, the 21st day of the month of April. Welcome to this episode of To The Point. And certainly we say thanks for you being here, those are our listeners on Classic 105.5 and 105.9, and our viewers has just rejoined us on GBN Television, Channel 7, Channel 11, and Channel 20 for those if you're on cable. And a warm and wonderful Thursday to you, those of you on the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd, or you chime in via the other social media platforms, be it Facebook or YouTube. I'm Joseph Cadore, and thanks for being part of today's conversation. Let me first apologize for the absence of the representatives from the Royal Grenada Police Force, who has become a regular staple here on a Thursday. Certainly they were forced for different reasons to have to cancel today's engagement, but we do apologize for that. But not with that being said, though, the conversation is going to continue. It means that it allows us the opportunity to have an open line forum, open line that allows you, the viewers, the listeners, to chime in on matters of national importance to you, whether it be healthcare, the current political climate, the bread and butter issues. Certainly that has become a topical conversation as we move into another election cycle as it is. But really and truly, what are the issues that are affecting you, affecting me? Well, what are the issues that are affecting us as we consider who we are and where we are as a people? The opportunity is yours to have that conversation this morning right here on To The Point. The number on screen, 435-2041. And certainly you can also submit your contributions via the WhatsApp portal, 435-2041. We'll also be entertaining comments and questions, queries from our social media platform, and those of you that's on Facebook, so feel free that you can engage us on that medium. Yes, so number of issues. We, of course, certainly in more recent times, there's been a conversation regarding the judgment on the pension issue, and it continues to be a dicey one, with the judgment in the favor of public servants, the pensioners, and basically stating that they have to be paid, and the government putting forward this case that, listen, and we respect the judgment, but there are going to be some challenges. And I think most people will probably, depend on what side of the fence, we agree that there might be some challenges as to how we pay. They're not saying that it should not be paid, but the question is, how do we approach it? How do we approach the issues regarding our education system? Where are we? We continue to hear the conversation that there's a need for reform. And is it really reform that we're looking for? You're hearing that there's a conversation that it needs to be changed. And some are asking, changed. What is it that we're looking for? Is it necessarily a change of ideologies, or is it a change in political organizations? What say you? The conversation begins now as we go to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Hello, morning, Joseph.
Yes, good morning. You're alive.
Just hearing you because the thing. Yes, we heard about this incident that happened in Carrico, in the bar up there. And you know, the police and them didn't really take action at the same time. Why I'm saying that is because remember the time when the little boy was getting dispute with the officer right here in Grenada on mainland, and shoot him right by his mother's house. And then police run at that moment to arrest and to do all kind of different things. Why then the police up there didn't hold the man and deal with him in the same way? Because why he's a stranger and a white man, but them could do things to people here and they get in away very easy, and they say police investigating. The police had to arrest the man at the same time. Because things happening on the mainland here, and before you turn the arresting, you the person. Because remember, the little boy get damaged in hand, and then the policeman shoot.
No, but I'm trying to understand why are you making the similarity between that incident and that separate incident here. These two separate incidents.
Yes, Josie, but it's something that the police supposed to deal with, and the news say that the police going to deal with it later on.
But I'm assuming the reason I heard the story that an investigation is in train.
Yeah, but investigation so quick. But remember when the thing happened to the little boy, in an investigation they deal with it at the same time.
But were the circumstances the same?
The same, yes, but the thing is, this white man gets too much chance. He's outside. They don't arrest him yet.
So you saying that he's enjoying the luxury because of his ethnicity?
I don't know if he's enjoying anything, but what I'm saying, they're supposed to arrest him the same time. Because who see and who say? They say he had a knife in his hand getting inside the bar. And you see it on the TV, on the video, when he was showing. He didn't have no right to getting away so easy.
And I agree.
There are police up there to hold him and jail him.
So you saying that the police...
I'm a mother too.
Right.
Understand that I'm a mother.
Right, okay.
I'm speaking from the mainland. What happened in Carrick is supposed to happen with people here too.
Okay.
They're supposed us to arrest him because nobody couldn't go in America and wheel a knife or something, walk with it inside. Nobody buy in America.
Well, I think to start with, nobody should in any part of the globe. We're not even thinking as far as the US.
Yeah, but that is why they didn't have no right to let him escape from the bar with the thing, because I hear they say he had a knife in his hand.
Yeah, but are you blaming the police for what happened?
I don't blame the police. They had to do their work.
Right, but you remember the incident happened, and I know even on the video, persons were being asked. The question was being asked on the video: why is it that the police was not alerted thereafter? So the question has to be asked: was the police alerted at the very moment, or was it brought to the attention of the police after?
Whether it's after or before or immediate, the police supposed to know because inside a bad thing happened. Okay.
Thank you, though. 435-2041. That's the number on the inside. Certainly, we'd hope that this brings a closure to this issue sooner rather than later. And it certainly weighs an opportunity for us to say, listen, we need to denounce in any way, form, or fashion these acts of violence that seem to become a prevailing element within our lives, that we seem to resort to violence at any whims and fancy, and no longer do we resort to reasonable dialogue and conversation to resolve issues. And I'm saying it doesn't. This goes beyond ethnicity, social barriers. It doesn't matter, but I do certainly hope that we get a quick response and resolution to that issue. We go back to the telephone lines. 6 minutes gone past the hour. Good morning.
Good morning, Joseph. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Okay, I'm calling with regards to, every now and then you would have the police on the program, and I think this morning they weren't there.
Correct.
I'm calling with regards to the music. There was I don't know if it's a party or whatever it is in my community. All up to 10 o'clock, the music was so loud. The house was shaking, the doors were shaking, the windows were shaking. There are sick people in the community, people in bed. I called the police. When I called, they said to me that the people have permission. Even if they have permission, Joseph, after a particular time, I'm pretty much sure they can lower the music to the extent that, okay, it's not affecting your neighbors.
Right.
And I was expecting the police to say, well, okay, yes, they have permission, but at this time of the night, 10 to 10 o'clock, right? They could have done something towards that. So I'm asking the police to please, because there should be some level of the sound in which they play the music.
And was that an engagement within where a residential unit area?
SMP.
Well, that's an interesting position, and I do know that persons can get permission to have amplified sound, but I'm quite certain in the same context there is laws that relates to noise pollution.
The decibel,
and
exactly.
As to how late and when, because I've known of occasions where you've made reports to the police and you understand that they have attended to it. I think just to say that, well, they have permission, that's an interesting position.
Yeah, she said to me that they have permission, miss, and just now they're going to stop and all of that. Okay. But my thing is, I was very much surprised at the response, because from time to time you would hear them talking about, cracking down on the loud music and that sort of thing. So I was really hoping that they come onto the program this morning.
Right. But what happened eventually, though? Let me ask you, though.
Eventually, the music died down a bit, and then they raised up the sound again, and it continued for a while. I mean, it was really, really bad.
Yeah, and I know, and certainly, I mean, amplified sound during the day and amplified sound in the night is totally different dynamics at all.
But terrible.
But I do
So I'm hoping that when they come onto the program next week, that I'll be able to raise that concern with them.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
8 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time, and I think certainly we have a responsibility to ourselves, as to each other, as a community, and I know the challenge. I don't know the issue of loud music. There is a Noise Pollution Act, and certainly while persons, they will probably ask for permission for amplified songs, you probably think that good conscience would at least prevail. And does it always happen? Not necessarily the case. It's 11 minutes gone past the hour. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cadore. Greetings and greetings. Oh, no, pardon, you have no guest this morning. Thanks for the opportunity, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you, sir.
I hear that sister's voice and I hear her anguish and I know what she goes through. I understand what she's going through. Let me tell you this, Mr. Cadore. You always hear me talk about shameless, institutionalized hypocrisy in this here country. And one of the institutions of the so-called state of Grenada that which exercises this level of deceit through hypocrisy is the Royal Grenada Police Force. They conspire. I have evidence of it on various occasions. They conspire with the perpetrators of crime to hurt other people. And I'm not ashamed to say they can do me and say what they want about me, but I know it. Anyway, but that's not what I call to talk about. Mr. Cadore, in this here country, we are all aware, the intelligent people, quote unquote, of this here country, who look after the affairs, no, I shouldn't say look after, who look out for the violations and abuses of some of our people, and the usurpation of authority and otherwise by those who rule us, yes. Mr. Cadore, there is a group of people in this here country who suffer seriously. And their rights on a daily basis are being abused by the authorities. I refer to the people with disabilities in this here country. Contravening all the 50 articles of United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, the government of Grenada, the state of Grenada, continue to violate our rights. I want to zero in on one thing particularly this morning, and that is the right to a secret ballot. Section 32, subsection 3 of the Constitution stipulates crystally clear, Mr. Cadore, that the election should be carried out to execute it through a ballot, or through ballot, and that it should be designed in a way that no other person sees who an individual votes for. I urge you to take a look at it, and as you speak from time to time, you can report it. That's what the so-called Constitution. No, you know my position on the so-called Constitution, but that is what we have.
Okay.
But citizen Cadore, if you go into the Representation of the People Act, you would see somewhere in Section 60 something or something of the sort like that. It wasn't rather precise on that one. It tells you that people like me with visual impairment have to enter the polling booth with someone else.
Right.
We have spoken about this on various occasions. When I returned to the country and there was the election in 2013, I went into the authority, I spoke to them about it. I hinted on ways that this can be corrected. They paid no heed. 2018, no heed. Now they seemingly, based on what I heard from representatives of the electoral office recently, they want to continue this year again. Well, next election, should I say, pardon? Again with the same thing, because as was quoted there and in the recordings, that is the law and that is what we have and that is what we work with.
And I know it's a conversation, and then certainly it's one that we're making attempts to, and certainly haven't confirmed a date yet, but certainly we had them on, representatives from the electoral office some time ago, and the plan is to get them back have them return.
I would really love that, Mr. Cadore.
That we can broach some of those very issues.
And it is urgent that your organization does that, so that they cannot. But additionally, as I end up here, I want to tell the Grenadian people, especially the people with visual impairment, that there are ways that you can go into this polling booth and vote, cast a secret ballot without anybody else being there.
Okay.
I end by saying this. I have invited your agency, your television station, to drop by my place. I am not going out because there's COVID in the air and I have a delicate situation. I prefer to stay away from people.
Right.
I'm inviting, but this time publicly, that your television crew, probably with a cell phone, they don't really need any big set of camera and kind of ringy-dingy, that we sit comfortably in the porch and I'll show them what can be done so they can transmit it to the electoral authority, because the pomposity of the people in the electoral office refuse to talk to me.
Okay, sir. Well, certainly that's just considerations can be given to all things, but I certainly hope that the issue it is one that it speaks to not just yourself, but
no. I'm not speaking about me. I'm speaking about the people in this country.
That's what I'm saying.
9,000 plus, according to the 2011 census.
Speaks to a wide cross section,
so that we can correct this anomaly as we go along.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day, will you?
All the best to you. You take care. 16 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. To the point is an open line. You're giving you the opportunity to share your thoughts, your concerns, and matters of national interest. We want to say thanks to those that have started this, that's chimed in, or regular contributors on social media, Winston Wadali, Annette Rackmixing, and others, even Paul. Good morning to you, Lady Ingrid Bourne. It's always a pleasure having you on the platform and being part of the conversation. 17 minutes gone past the hour. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You alive?
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Okay, I have one concern.
I'm getting a feedback somewhere.
Oh, let me look, Mary.
425-2041, that's the number on the inside. Yes, caller?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, I have one concern. I remember the last election when I received the ballot paper and I went in to put my X. I could have plainly see at the back of the paper where I put my X. And I thought it was funny. But when I got home to my house and my daughter came home, she said to me, Mommy, this paper is so transparent, people can see where you put your X. So I am asking the authority, please, to do something about that, to make sure that where you put your X, nobody else, nobody you, and whosoever after. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All the best to you. 425-2041, that's the number on the inside. Taking the conversation to the people this morning. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, you're alive.
Hello.
Good morning, you're alive.
Mr. Cadore?
Good morning, sir, you're alive.
I heard a woman speaking about her distress with loud music in her neighborhood. And I want to make it abundantly clear. Whether it be in the day or in the night, nobody in the house may be disturbed by noisy music. Your house is a place where you should enjoy peace and tranquility. This is your heaven on earth. And I want to make it abundantly clear that the police is very reckless in granting permission to people wanting to have their loud music in neighborhoods where nobody in the neighborhood is given the chance to say what they feel about it. The police just does what they want to do. And this is ugly. I notice right now a number of vehicles, even both buses, have loud blasting thunderous music. And of course, the law is no public vehicle should have any music beyond 25 watts. But what they have is 200, 300, and 400 watts. And the police does nothing. The police is not doing their work. I live in Victoria, and there are certain rum shops in the night blasting music. It is against the law. I'm not asking that. It is against the law, and the police are supposed to stop that. Nobody has a right to stop anybody with noise. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think the issue of noise pollution has to become a national conversation. We've got to live in this culture, and not just in private entities, in dwelling houses, but even public and private transportation. I must say, though, that the issue in public transportation has become less of a nuisance, not that it is totally removed, but certainly, why is it we assume that it is okay to infringe on somebody else's rights? Yes, I know permission can be given this, but I think it speaks to a national conversation and us being able to respect and appreciate each other's rights. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Wonderful as always. Thank you.
It's a little bit disappointing this morning because you're going to tell me, even though one of them from the force, somebody had to come, there is nobody else that can show up because the public have so much concern. I'm very disappointed in the police force this morning because somebody else could have said, well, I cannot make it. I will send a successor or somebody else. We are not feeling good about that this morning.
Thank you very much, caller. 21 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. Just looking at some of the contributors online, this person says, man, you're speaking the truth about this loud music in vehicles and houses too. Another person says online, well, considering the music and level of the music, I think that the caller herself needs to be mindful that the guidelines provided by the LGPF gave the person permission. And I'm sure it may have been a one-off issue, and to call the police may not have been warranted. And it's going to continue to be a conversation. Hey, Classic, good morning, you alive?
Hey, brother, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How is everything? So the gentleman over there yesterday from NC party mentioned about the Billy Bustamers in Grenville. But you know the Bustamers in Grenville would be a better Bustamers than the one they had in town, with the plan they had? You have any idea about that?
What is the comparison you're making, sir?
The Bustamers in Grenville.
Yes.
Would have been much better than the one they have in town. You have any idea about that?
Well, I'm not an engineer, so I'm not here.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I know about it. I mean, in any case, so they built I think an open park there when the rain fall and all, they can't go inside when the rain fall. Some part in Grenville, the Bustamers, they incompetent. They had a better plan for the one in Grenville and town. I talked to people, the authority who were working for the authority about that. They told me about that. But they do what they want. They build a old after they have toilet, they have shelter. If rainfall be water flood the place if rainfall.
Okay.
No, I pass on the island for a while and thing. There's some little slides and thing in the island for a while. Some slide by the sea coast for the past years and thing. Now, in the days when they build the road in the slavery time, when they build the road, the agricultural land, when they build the roads and things for donkey cart in the days gone by, they not no equipment. But we have modern equipment now. The government could widen the roads on the sea coast side, especially by Halifax Bay,
okay,
Perseverance area. They was sliding for a good while now. We have some board for a long time now, years now.
Okay.
They could widen the road on the left-hand side. We have enough equipment for that now. The road on the sea coast was so thin for people to travel. You have enough land in the inside part of the land. Widen the tractors and things, and we go do less streets on the sea coast there, but we got the rainy season coming up right now. asking government to clean up the roads. They clean up the roads right now. They're doing it and then they clean up and they will charge for the past.
But in all fairness, and I know you're making specific, but there are places, and we've seen that the government has done a lot of expansion and expansions to a lot of the road networks. So
yeah, I mean they do expansion inside the land and things up to places and by the cemetery and whatnot. But you know about the Seco side.
Well,
which they have board for years now.
Okay.
That need mending up. That thing really isn't coming in a while, you know.
Okay, sir. I'm with you.
The journey is clean up right now. They need a good clean up and thing on the side of the road. We are talking about the past and thing. The road is not clean up right now.
And you do agree? Maybe that's an occasion where I agree that government does has its position in getting things done. But certainly those are areas, because you made reference to the revolution. And certainly in the period of the revolution, certainly there's some of those things of which you speak, the cleaning of the drain and drainage, those also can become some community project. What say you?
Yeah, but community people love for green again. They are loving period time, not now. They want money for that now.
Well, then we have a greater problem than just the government then.
Yeah, but people they wouldn't get we have grass and they ain't clean. Block up in the drain, they ain't clean.
I don't agree. Well, maybe in your side. I think
they love a greener. They love people for greener in the past. In period time, dying there again.
So do you have a love for Grenada?
Yeah, I just do a volunteer work.
You do? So maybe what you can do, you start the initiative.
I do a volunteer work in my community.
Okay.
I do a volunteer work. No more in the road. They will stand more than that's a long time now. That is about from 2018 to now.
Okay.
December. It's time that place is fixed. And let people run on the flat road and things, go up the hill and things up in Momois all the time, up in that area of this, that road and things on bad road.
Okay,
so it's time to get something. Really soon come again.
I'm with you, sir. Thank you.
Really soon come in. The other thing that do now, let's all the drainage and things, the road and things now.
I think I've gotten the general drift that there is a need for expansions of the road, and as we get into the rainy season, the hurricane season, that we need to be cognizant of some of the challenges that can be posed, whether it's by overhanging, unblocked drains, and so. I'm with you on that, sir. 26 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I would just like to touch on 2 points this morning. The first would be that of the noise pollution. Where I could appreciate the fact that the first caller, I could imagine her discomfort. The thought that it is a one-off thing and it only happens in Grenada is sort of surprising to me. I'm just going to give a quick example. There is many communities around the National Stadium. When there is events there, what would they leave for the persons around the stadium to do at that point in time? Would they call into the RGPF to report the noise level? In other countries, America, Canada, England, they would have big arenas where stars would come to perform, and I'm very sure that around these places would have residential areas also. So I think that, persons should be a little mindful that it is an industry, and maybe, we could work hand in hand with the promoters so that maybe they could inform the village or the neighborhood that there would be something happening, so that persons may be able to take a rest during the day if they may be discomforted at night, just to make things a little better, because it's not a unique situation. The second thing I would like to touch on, the caller that just called, in concerns with our, if you want to call it infrastructure, I would like to see that, I don't know if it would be the Forestry Department or the Ministry of Agriculture, in concerns with a lot of the overhanging trees and so forth on power lines and even into people's property, which could be very hazardous when we have tropical, events, that they would put some sort of policies or so in place that would give the government or government bodies such as forestry and agriculture the ability to come and trim, because as it is currently, I've been through some situations and I know for a fact that the policies are not there. it is very limited. So someone could have a huge tree overhanging your property, which could damage your structure, and there is little to nothing that they could actually do more than send a letter to the person informing them that if the tree damages your property, that then they would be liable for it, which I think is sort of, after the fact.
Right.
So these are things that I think that they should look into. I think it's high time that the policymakers look into these sort of things. Grenada is too old for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. 29 minutes gone past the hour to the point on a Friday. On a Thursday, sorry. We take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Join GBN on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. for Interesting Grenadians, a program that showcases the lives of interesting and outstanding Grenadians at home and abroad. It's Interesting Grenadians every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on GBN. Don't you miss it.
That's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Minutes on to the hour in the morning time. Welcome back to The Point for today, the 21st day of the month of April. I'm Joseph Cadore. It's an open line platform. There's a caller waiting on the line. Good morning, caller. You're alive?
Good morning, Mr. Cadore, and to your followers and all the members of those who follow the GBN and different platforms. First of all, I'd like to just, on my behalf, and I guess on the behalf of many, extend condolences to the family of the late Mr. Morris Maslin, who I learned died suddenly earlier this week. I mean, he was one of the finest example of a human being that you can find anywhere. As a banker, he helped so many Grenadians. He worked at Grenada. Many of the banks, I think he worked in almost every one of the major banks over some time in his lifetime, and he had contributed a lot to the development of this country. So I'd like to take this opportunity to extend condolences to his wife and his children, and probably some of his siblings who are still alive. But I have a major concern, Joe, and it has to do with the governance of this country. When you elect persons or people to serve the country, they are serving as stewards. It is not their country, it is our country, and they are stewards or managers of the resources of the country. And I think we have lost total control of our resources. It seems as though the people in authority, they are just using the resources of the country as they choose. I mean, we had budget 4 months ago, and there are many things that were never in the budget. I mean, we're hearing now, and we're seeing it in publications, that we got over $300 million from the Citizen by Investment program. This was not reported in our budget. There is no accountability. We were also told when Glen Lake was purchased for about $150 or something to that extent. We were not told. Up to this day, almost a year and a half later, we still have not been told where the funds came from. Now, this is not the government money. That's the people's money. If there are debts, the taxpayers have to pay it. But yet these people are high and mighty. They don't tell you anything. So we are still waiting to hear if this 300 million EC dollars that was collected is true and where it's accounted for. How much of it has been spent? How was it spent? But I don't understand. This is crazy. To know that our resources are being used and no one feels obligated or feels they have the respect or the decency to report to us about it. Another major concern which relates to that is the fact that the lines between the government and the party has been so blurred that you don't even know where the government ends and the party begins. And mind you, the Constitution of this country does not recognize any political party. It does not in any way. Any 15 persons or any 8 persons, there could be 8 independent candidates or the members of 7 or 8 political parties can come together and form a government. The Constitution is silent about political parties. Yet, public funds are being spent by party hacks.
Okay.
In all our constituencies. The constituency office should be an office, a public office run by public servants, but we're spending public money. We're hearing about all kinds of party operatives being charged for thousands of dollars. How does the public funds get into the hands of this party people? And this is a major concern that the people in this country have to wake up. We have to wake up and take charge of our country and our resources. The debts that have been mounted up have to be paid by us. The Constitution does not recognize political parties.
Thank you, sir.
And we should draw that line where the government ends and where the political party activities and the activists begins. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Joe.
All the best.
And good agents on the whole.
23 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. It is an open line platform in the morning, allowing you the opportunity to share in thoughts, matters of national interest, as whatever they may be. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Joseph, I express my concern and similar sentiments and in relation to what the last caller said, because you have been hearing me saying all along the line, and it does get vexed, the government representatives, the so-called ministers, with due respect to them, that we are the employer, they are employees, and we pay their salary. I don't know why they don't get it in their head, and they are accountable to us. It's not that I hate anybody. Anytime you say, oh, you hate this girl, to this girl, she hate Keith Mitchell and this and that. It's not that. They come to us from time to us. Whether it's NNP or NDC or GLP, whoever it is, they must remember this. I can't take on this high and mighty people. When they win the seat, that is it. You have to go minister this and honorable this and honorable that. They must put it in the pipe and smoke it that they are our employees. We are paying their salary and they have taken an oath to serve. They are public servants. Rowley Trinidad, he's a chief public servant. Mia Motley, the same thing. Even Joe Biden, Keith Mitchell is the same thing. They should be serving us, and we have entrusted an estate called Grenada for them to run or for them to manage, and they have to be accountable to us. But every time you say that, because you always hear me say that over and over, they just get vexed. Every time you say that, they get vexed. But I want them with due respect to all of them. When it's NNP, NDC, whoever it is that elected or going to be elected or who they know, just put it in all your pipe and smoke it. That everything that you all do on behalf of the Grenada people is from the taxpayers' money. Taxpayers of this country. I hear people that say government road. It's not government road.
Okay.
The road belongs to the taxpayers of this country. So put it in all your pipe and smoke it that we are paying all your salary and you all are accountable to us and you all are public servants. Put it in all your pipe and smoke it. We need, when we ask questions, you don't have to be vexed with us. It's just that we need to know how our funds have been managed and what is happening to our own taxpayers' dollars. It's not that we hate you.
Thank you, caller. Much appreciated. 435-2041. Just to clear the air, just information from one of my sources on the Sister Isle regarding the concern regarding that video that has been circulated, and the caller was raising the concern regarding the police seeming lack of action in apprehending the culprit. The information he received is that the gentleman, from all indications, left almost immediately after the incident. The understanding is that the police, they have checked all with regional counterparts, but have emerged empty-handed on his whereabouts. He apparently illegally departed Carriacou without checking the immigration department. And the understanding is that there have been appeals that have been made to regional and international counterparts so as to bring some closure to the issue. So just to give some add to the concerns that were raised by the caller regarding the gentleman and that video that was circulated with him in the bar in Carriacou. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live, caller. Good morning, caller. You are live.
Mr. Cadore, good morning, and how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Mr. Cadore, I heard on the news that the COVID is on the rise in Grenada. But we were told we're not supposed to wear masks, but it's optional. If we want to wear it, we do it. If not, we don't. Mm-hmm. But in saying that, where is the Minister of Health? I'm hearing Dr. Sean coming on and giving the report of the COVID, whether it's up or down or how much is hospitalized. And I believe we have a Minister of Health, but I have not heard him on the radio saying anything. But taxpayers still paying him. Is that fair? He's not making any announcement. I don't know where he is, but I'm sure he's getting his salary, but he's not saying anything.
So is your concern that information is not been given, or is that by whom it's given? Because in all fairness to the process, and I do understand the need to hear from a government officials, but the chief medical officer, in whatever capacity, when they speak on behalf of the government, just the same. So I think in all fairness, anything that any one government official say, if at the end of the day it would be an indictment in either way against any of against the bosses, just the same. So, but I understand, but certainly at least the information, right, regarding COVID as it is, I think the reality is that the issue of living with COVID is not a conversation that takes place in isolation. And I want to encourage each and every one of us, and that must be made emphatically clear, that we all have to take responsibility. Yes, there's what the government is going to put policies in place, but we all need to take responsibility and continue to engage in good social practices, good hygienic practices, and that would ensure that we all keep ourselves healthy. We go back to the telephone lines. We think we've lost that caller, 435-2041. This country where it says F-Ed was, and even leakage was weed, the police ran in quick, man with a knife, left immediately. By what means? Lord help us. Quite interesting. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You alive?
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you, caller.
Mr. Cadore, some time ago, there was an issue with an employee from government that was moved from where he was to some other position because of the way he interacted or treated a foreigner. And when the talk came out, people spoke about it because they felt it was unfair to him. He did his job as he was supposed to. But because of who he dealt with, he was moved. And in responding to criticisms about it, the Prime Minister made a statement. And he said, people, when they're in a position for too long, they assume that the place is theirs. But I want that to reverse. He is the same person. He is one. Because he's there for so long, he thinks Grenada belong to him, and we are his little either little puppies, little pigs, or little whatever, and he can treat us as he wants. But he have to realize Grenada belongs to Grenadians. We are Grenadians. He's a Grenadian. And because he's there, I don't know what got into this man's head, but this man does not treat Grenada as if Grenadians belong here. We are second class, maybe third and fourth class citizens, and foreigners are number one. Again, I speak about the people who are in the business community. The stores are all with foreigners. But Grenadians have to go on the sidewalk, on a little umbrella, on a box, in the back of a car, to make a living, to pay taxes, for him to get a salary. So when coming to the way he treats Grenadians, it is time for him to vacate and give somebody the chance. He's there too long, and he thinks Grenadian is his, and we are his little animals to deal with.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. 16 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. To the point, it's an open line forum this morning, and we want to say thanks to contributors, those that's on social media, engaging some quite an active conversation there. You can also be part of the conversation via our WhatsApp portal, and just going to allow me via the WhatsApp portal. So I'm going to take this call and then attend to some of the calls that's on WhatsApp. Good morning, caller. You alive? Good morning, caller. You alive?
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning, caller. Caller, is it possible that you can turn down whatever device?
No, I want to talk with you.
No, sir. What I'm asking you, please, if you can turn down the device that's in the background, that's creating a feedback, and let's conduct the conversation via the telephone.
What you are saying, sir?
There's a radio, television, something in the background that you are listening to.
Okay.
I need you to turn it off, and let's conduct the conversation via the telephone.
Okay, I'll turn it off forward.
Thank you.
I'll turn it off.
435-2041, that's the number on the inside.
Mr. Cadore?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
I want to congratulate you on your program on a Wednesday evening. I think it is a very good program, and it's a step in the right direction. I also want to support what the two callers or three callers before talk about the noise on our street by certain people and the police doing nothing about it. Now, this can be very, very annoying, and we want the police to do something about it. A lot of people are fed up of that kind of situation happening in our country. And the two people before who spoke about the attitude of our Prime Minister, and they believe that Grenada belongs to them, and the way they misuse public funds, is something that they have to seriously think about. Now, this Prime Minister, in my view, have squandered, my opinion, public funds for the last 30 years. And it is still happening. And I want to say this on behalf of the teachers and public servants, and with the court ruling on pension and gratuity, this government must find the money where it is, however, to pay these people, and no nonsense. I don't know why you want to talk to teachers about it or public servants about it. We all remember what happened to Blaise, and when Blaise says what goes around comes around. Now is his chance to do something and let the people of Grenada feel he could do something about it. He squandered, he misappropriated, in my view, in my opinion, and maybe stole the public money. And the time has come when he should do something about the pension.
I don't think so. I don't think we should get into making any suggestive remarks as to what individuals may or may not have done. I would not encourage that. But okay. I do agree with the point that you're making regarding the pension. Those, yes. I'm quite okay with.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All the best. All the best to you. 435-2041. And again, just a general word of statement. Once you call, we do encourage you to conduct the conversation via the telephone. And again, encouraging folks that when we call it, you're allowed to make your points, but certainly we don't want to get into innuendos and suggesting anything that we're not in a position to prove. You make up a points, make it clearly stated clearly. 12 minutes gone past onto the hour of 10 o'clock in the morning time. We're looking for another caller that's on the line. We certainly, a contributor on WhatsApp says it is time that someone address Mr. Ruler's concern, read the Constitution, the rights of the disabled, and the voting issues of the visually impaired. We have had police persons from the legal fraternity, and they're all skirting the issue. Please answer Mr. Rollo's and our concern. Contributed there via the WhatsApp portal. A question being asked. Good morning, Mr. Cadore. Should a public servant promote government or party policies? Questions being asked. And certainly we provide the platform for you, the general public, to share your concerns and raise them with the general public. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live.
I want to find out the incident. Sorry, the radio louder.
Hello?
The radio is a bit too loud.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. I just want to find out from you, sir. The incident in Carriacou, the perpetrator, is he a foreigner? Because I think I heard a foreign accent in the tape. Is he come in the country by the boat, by the plane, by a yacht? This little island of Carriacou where this thing take place there, you tell me nobody could have tracked the gentleman down, whoever it is? The man who was at least under threat. He was calling for security. Where was the security? Is he at the back of the building? Is he at the front of the building? Or were he in the building? He couldn't hear the man calling for help? That's my question.
And thank you, caller. I think there's a lot of dynamics in play here, and certainly I'm only grateful that it didn't turn out anywhere worse. As to where the security was, that's a conversation that the owners will take place, would have to deal with. But the question is, and it hints to one of the problems we have, a growing concern where we stop. Because I've asked myself the question, the individual that was recording it, because the gentleman was recorded walking into the bar area, and the question is, well, at what point in time was the police called? Was it when the bartender when the security guard did not respond? Did anybody try to address the issue? But I'm grateful God that it didn't turn out in any way extreme, because this situation could have gone really, really and truly in any direction. We keep an eye on the clock. We have about 5 minutes left in the program. 435-2041. That is the number on the inside. This contributor on WhatsApp says it is not fair to say the police paid no heed. In 2021 into 2022, attempts were made to introduce ballots in Braille. It was advised that not everyone could read Braille. On the advice of that said caller, attempts were made to implement his suggestion. However, it required changes of laws, etc., and the time did not permit. In short, attempts were made to address the situation in favor of rights of people with visual impairment. And if in fact contributor, what you're saying is factual, not disputing that, it has to be a continuous process and should remain a work in progress. But thank you again for your contribution and sharing on the issue. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. We seem to have lost the caller. 435-2041, and that's the number on the inside. This contributor in social media says, well, considering the music and level of music, I think that the caller herself need to be mindful that guidelines provide for the IGPF that gave the person permission. And I'm sure it's a one-off issue. And to call in for that, I think, is premature unless it has happened multiple times. Now, think for a moment. River Road is a residential area as well. What should they do when the stadium has an event? Persons are too quick to express their concerns without thinking about the effects it may have on others. 5 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning to you, sir.
Congrats on your program last night.
Thank you, sir.
Something I would like to see happen up, maybe you can consider. I am trying to, the government announced the GDB development bank loans for the Imanis, right? It's on temporary. Now, I don't feel comfortable with the way that was dealt with in terms of the information of it, because I'm hearing several complaints regarding people not being able to access it, because one person said to me they went in for the loan, they had to value the piece of land that their mom left for them, and then they were asked to take out an insurance to cover the loan. Now, if you're working for $800 and you have to take out an insurance to cover a loan, that insurance is somewhere a life insurance that is about $200 a month. It means then that you then have $600 approximately disposable income available. Just calling figures approximately. Now, that chose that individual out of it. Okay. Now, to me, Joseph, I honestly, from what I'm picking up, not from one person, but what I'm picking up from that, what I was thinking, it seems as though it's another oil and gas ploy, right? I need to know for sure. If it's to me, don't feel genuine. It almost feel like a trap, because if that person who parents left a piece of land for them freehold, go and mortgage it with all the good intention, right? And they're temporary, they lose their job, they can't think. I mean, they run the risk, it's a mortgage, of losing that piece of land as well, everything.
Okay.
Right?
But let me ask you this. Is this something that is specific to that individual, or is that the general protocol that is involved? Because, I mean, we've had persons from the GDB that I work quite closely with, that, and we've had conversations on this, and you may well appreciate that while there may be a core persons, these platforms are available to everyone. With the GDB, I know they sit with you, and then the question is always, what are the other prevailing and mitigating circumstances? So I'm asking it quite objectively. Is this a unique, isolated situation, or are you certain that is the general modus operandi as it relates to persons trying to get a loan under the existing scheme?
Well, Joseph, the truth is I am asking for assistance for all of us figuring out what it is.
Okay, so here's that. Okay.
Because,
So, fair enough. I just wanted to because I mean I do have, and it's something I'm going to follow up with my colleagues in GDB. But certainly, I just wanted to ascertain whether or not. But as you said, there is always room for clarity on these on these issues, right?
Exactly, because you see, the thing is that I'm not comfortable with what I'm hearing, and I really do not want individuals, or youths to feel trapped. One of the greatest travesty that slavery left with us is the fact that we didn't have anything to start. We start at zero, and sometimes minus zero. Not minus zero, some figure in the minus.
Right.
So it bothers me that to think that we are putting something together that people running the risk of losing the little that their parents or whoever it is would have left for them, hoping to give them that head start. Right? You see, Joseph, I don't think the government has given us. The government give us enough reasons to doubt them. right? I mean, and not to trust them. So please assist me and others in really and truly solidifying some sort of clarity, bringing some clarity to bear on this whole issue.
And that, I promise you, should not be much of a problem. Again, I would make it one of my responsibilities to attempt to do that for you, sir, and to clear the minds of any misconceptions that others may have. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
2 minutes onto the hour in the morning time. And I guess, the gentleman has a valid concern, but I must say to you, very often, sometimes when these situations arise, it must be, because each loan application or applicant is dealt with separate and apart. And certainly there might be circumstances, and it may just come down to the issue of how much is the person asking for. Because there may be a lot of other factors involved. But certainly we do thank you for your concern, sir. A minute on to the hour in the morning time, everyone. This is where the conversation comes to an end for today, the 21st day of the month of April. I want to say thanks to all of our contributors, and those who did via the social media platform, be it WhatsApp, and those on the Facebook page. To all our listeners and our viewers, wherever you are, it's always a pleasure being here with you. Thanks to all of our contributors. Indeed, it's a pleasure. You take care. Have a great one. Continue to live life and love life. Treating each day as your last day on planet Earth. And you sleep, you recognize you're still here. I always encourage you on a daily basis to try to find your divine purpose and fulfill it. Until then, so long, everybody. JC.